All right, we're going to start with the nation. APC INEC to pull tribunal. Obi's petition a waste of time. Suspected Yahoo boys lynched in Ondo for crushing two to death. Governor-elect rejects life pension plan by incumbent. The Ajibola I know, or I knew, by Afe Babalola. Cash flow from banks still low, says NLC. NMA seeks better environment for doctors, others to operate. Pre-poll how Tinubu scaled 18 landmines in court. Mr. We're starting with the nation.
I will take the human interest, the mob lynch of the Yahoo boy. He was driving in his Toyota car when he lost control. He was speeding. He lost control and rammed into a motorcyclist and some other people. The motorcycle and his passenger died. The other ones were injured and were rushed to the hospital. So the people who saw it, ran to help him. When they got to his car, they saw that he was he had fetish, what they call fetish things in his car. So they now decided to lynch him.
Thinking it was a Yahoo boy.
Thinking it was a Yahoo boy. They beat him into a coma. His parents heard and ran there. They beat them too. Join. The police now came, but by the time the police got there, he had died. They were saying he was in a coma, but the police said, no, it wasn't a coma. He was already dead.
To death.
They set his car ablaze, and he was dead, and
Really sad.
So
very sad.
Christian Association of Nigeria has slammed Friesland Campina, Wamco Nigeria PLC, makers of pig milk, for using the crucifixion of Jesus Christ as a metaphor to promote their product on Good Friday. They said that's according to the General Secretary, Dr. Joseph Daramola. He said that the advert is insensitive, offensive, and totally unacceptable.
Can you imagine?
Adding that Good Friday is a solemn day for Christians all over the world, a day that they commemorate the death of our Lord Jesus Christ, who was crucified on the cross, and not a day to be used for crass commercial purposes. So he described the action is disrespectful to Christians and an affront to millions of Christians in Nigeria and beyond. And they are deeply disappointed that a company of such repute will stoop so low to exploit the religious sentiments of its customers for profit. So they are requesting that Friesland gives them a public apology for what has happened, or they would, take up the matter.
All right, so the governor-elect of Benue State, Father Hyacinth Alia, has initiated a campaign to block a life pension plan by the outgoing Benue State Governor, Samuel Otom. According to him, he called on the citizens of conscience to prevail on their representatives in the House of Assemblies across the state to reject such a bill when forwarded to them. He said that passing such a bill, the governor-elect noted, would deepen despondency of the state. And according to him, said the bill stipulates that after May 29th, Governor Otom should be allowed to go home with choice properties of government in his possession as his post-service package. He also said that he can choose anywhere of the country to be built a mansion, and also his medical trips and those of his family will be paid for by the state. So he's saying that for a governor who was unable to pay pensioners, he's now securing pension for himself, that it is wrong and that all the House of Assembly members within the state should reject it. However, the chief press secretary of the current governor, Governor Tom, has said that he has no idea what he's talking about, that this bill, that this, there's no such bill on ground, and that if it is on ground, let the House of Assembly be the one to take it up and respond accordingly, that he is not going to say anything about that.
So, good news to the people of Nasarawa State, as their ex-Nasarawa deputy governor, who was kidnapped, has been released after paying ransom. So they started the ransom. He was kidnapped at the palace. Let me get the palace name. He was kidnapped at the palace of the paramount ruler of Wamba, Oriye, Ringdri area of Nasarawa State. And the kidnappers demanded 70 million naira for his release. And the family said they couldn't afford that amount of money. So they started negotiation from 2 million to 4 million. They paid the 4 million naira, added some recharge card dropped the money exchanged hands at a primary school. They said Manda Hill Secondary School, rather, and the man was released. The deputy governor of Nasarawa, the Commissioner for Information, confirmed that, thank God, he has been released. So we thank God that the man has been released. There are many others that are still kidnapped. We still need to beef up security to avoid this, because some people could not afford the money to pay for the release of their loved ones.
The Punch. APC kicks as Northern senators insist on Senate presidency. Easter, Lagos FCT residents celebrate and are grateful for surviving the cash crunch. Enumerators indicted for sexual harassment will be dismissed as NPC. Police arrest suspect in Instagram cloth vendor's death. Nigerian unemployment rate to hit 41% in 2023, says KPMG. Port reconstruction will cost $800 million, says NPA boss. UK restriction can't stop doctors' migration. Buhari should suspend fuel subsidy removal, declare marketers. Okay, which story are we starting with?
I have a human interest story inside the paper. So a bartender in Yang, Isaiah, allegedly killed his colleague Kingsley Kato during a fight at a hotel on Ojuelegba Road in Surulere. And according to the story, they said both of them were attending to customers at the bar when they started a conversation which degenerated into an argument. And while the other colleagues were trying to separate them, they started fighting. According to a part of the story, it says when they started fighting, they had to use weapons against themselves. But one of their colleagues, who was an eyewitness to what happened exactly, said they didn't use any form of weapons. But as they were fighting, they fell on broken bottles, and the bottles started piercing them. They didn't stop the fight. They continued rolling over the bottles as they were fighting each other. So one of them, the bottle pierced his neck and his chest. The other one, his stomach and his sides. The one that the chest was pierced was rushed to the hospital. He could not make it. He died. So they have called for their parents to start coming. Both of them actually come from the same village. They are coming to Lagos. The police is involved in this. And, you know, the management of the bar was saying that the other colleagues did not do well. They were supposed to have reported to the security officials when they started fighting and didn't want to be separated. Just a painful story.
Another human interest story.
Yes.
Is there was this Instagram cloth vendor who died in the hotel. She had checked into the hotel with a guy, his name withheld, and he left in the morning. And they would not have known till it was 12 noon checkout time, but she had borrowed the charger, what do you call this?
Yes.
Power bank of one of the staff. So they went to get it and met her. She was almost dead. She hadn't quite died.
Okay.
So they rushed her to the hospital, but she died. They called the guy, because the guy too is their customer.
Right.
Because police now started saying they're looking for him. Yes, so he came, you know, and then they arrested him. He's the prime suspect. But he came voluntarily.
Himself,
yeah.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. So
they said they're investigating the cause of her death.
Yeah. The Nigerian Population Commission has warned that its ad hoc staff, they want their ad hoc staff against sexual harassment during the upcoming population, which is billed for May 3rd to May 5th. According to them, they said that the sexual exploitation, harassment, and abuse have been dimensions and manifestations and happen mostly during times like these. They gave this assurance that there would be zero tolerance for sexual exploitation or abuse during the census, vowing that any of its staff caught in the process shall be dismissed, especially from leaders within the ad hoc staff. So they're expecting that. I was actually surprised that of all the planning towards the population census is this issue that came up. So obviously they probably speaking from experience, where leaders who have been appointed for this census take advantage of other members of the staff within this period. So they're saying that if you're a victim of any sexual harassment, please report to the commission, and they will definitely ensure that everybody involved is dismissed.
Yes, I was going to take the story about UK restrictions and the response from the medical bodies in Nigeria. They have said that the UK restriction, let me highlight the UK restriction. The UK placed 54 countries that the WHO has said have challenges within their health sector, that they won't be recruiting doctors from such states, such countries, and they are advising other countries not to recruit from them, because according to them, countries on the list should not be actively targeted for recruitment by health for recruitment by Health and Social Care Employers Recruitment Organization. And this is because the countries are on the WHO Workforce Support and Safeguard list. They are graded red. The response from the NMA president, Dr. Uche Ojema, in response in an interview to Punch, mentioned that there is freedom of movement. People will migrate. There are many other countries. There is Saudi Arabia, Grenada, Canada, America, Kuwait,
yeah.
Saudi. Like he just said, there are many other
South
places that they can go to. That that he doesn't begrudge UK for their restrictions, but that he feels the Nigerian government are not investing in the health sector is what is pushing Nigerian doctors into seeking greener pastures. And so the restriction from UK cannot stop them from relocating to other parts.
All right,
of the
so
world.
it's our topic today. We're still going to discuss it. We're going to have some experts a bit later. But let's move on now to Vanguard. 2023 polls, candidates from 10 parties filed 436 petitions. NBET pays Genco 614.9 billion naira for power generation. Terrorism, hunger looms as farmers abandon farmlands in Kaduna local government. Fake news, not our duty to monitor social media. That's NCC. Insecurity, Buhari leaving Nigeria far better than he met, it says presidency. Kidnappers, bandits resurfacing in Ekiti, says Governor Oyebanji. Benin Port, Edo NPA, BPE, ICRC complete request for qualifications. Obi right obedience amid barrage of attacks. Motorcycle importation falls 42%.
That's good.
212. That sounds interesting. Concerned Northerners vow to defend Tinubu's mandate. Okay, which story are we starting with?
So farmers in Benin Gwari local government area of Kaduna State have abandoned their farmlands over the resurgence of terrorism and other criminal acts in the rural communities. So speaking to Vanguard's correspondent yesterday, traditional title holder Adan Masani Berenungwani and former managing director of Kaduna State Media Corporation Zubairu Abdurauf said that less than 20% of farmlands in the local area were being attended to, as the local farmers have run away from their life, for their lives, leaving the terrorists to hold sway. According to him, said the issue of banditry, kidnapping, and burning of villages is what is discouraging these farmers and definitely going to be sending famine to the land. He said as of last year, it was only 45% of the arable farmland that was farmed on. Now they are not even thinking it will get up to 15 to 20% for this year because of what has been happening. And he said these terrorists are coming back in full swing. They keep writing letters telling the villagers that they are coming in. They kidnap, they kill some of them anytime they come, and they are requesting for money. He said these people are actually very poor people. They don't have any form of money to give them. So a lot of them are running away from their ancestral lands. And so even if the government decides to bring military to, secure the express, they may not be able to get to the hinterlands. So they need a collaboration between the military and the security, local security agencies to see what they can do so that people can go back to their farms.
So Governor of Ekiti State, Governor Abiodun Oyebanji, was saying yesterday that he has heard and has expressed concern over the resurgence of kidnappings and other criminalities within the state. He was saying this when he was having a meeting with Ekiti West local government and the Ikameta local council development area meeting yesterday. Yesterday, he said that he charged the chairman to collaborate amongst themselves with residents of the area and government at all levels to end the criminal activities. He's quite concerned that these kidnappers are resurfacing, and some areas they must sit down and see how they can help each other. That they can do, they will give them the support from state level, but really, security starts from local level, so they must be vigilant amongst the communities and know what's going, who is coming in, who is going out. And the local government chairman within his plans to have more meetings with all the various local government.
Did you not just read that the president is saying they are leaving Nigeria safer than when they met it, and then immediately after reading the headline, we are taking stories of
that's one state
in kidnapping. This is a different state.
Another state.
A different state. I took a different state.
Yes.
That's 3 states now.
Different states. But follow-up towards the elections, 2023 polls were having candidates from 10 parties filing a 436 petition. Courts and the lawyers are chopping. Anyway, the APC, PDP, Labour Party, AA, APGA, APM, all go to trial. Despite the complaints about the election, INEC is saying that this 2023 election was better than 2019 election. According to them, they say that in 2019, there were 807 petitions. So the fact that we're seeing 436, sometimes we forget what happened in the past. So INEC is saying, yes, people have a right to petition, but we are even having less petitions now, meaning that the elections went better than before. And even that if we look at the primaries that parties conducted in 2019, it was this 2023 primaries before the election was far better. So there's major improvement. He said in 2023, we had 1,370 pre-election suits as compared to 370 in 2019. So articles people are saying they are short of victory. Or Shutokun is saying they have a watertight case. People are very optimistic. The APC is saying concerning the presidential election that Labour Party has no case, but the Labour Party has gone to court to fight for their mandates.
Daily Sun, very quickly, clock calls for ministers' arrest trial over treason allegation. Kanu won't abandon struggle for Biafra, says IPOB. Concerns grow as Nigeria's foreign investment declined for third straight year, down 20%. Buhari leaves for Saudi Arabia. Any Muslim aspiring for Senate president is disrespectful to leaders, and Buhari, says APC National Working Committee. Can slams makers of peak milk over the insensitive Good Friday advert. Obedience must bear attacks as sacrifice for new Nigeria, says Peter Obi. And Ebonyi Ogba, PDP defer on 2023 polls, rallies support for governor-elect in Wifuru. Okay, so let me starting with Daily Sun, an article from a member of the National Working Committee of the APC, Mr. Salisu Lukman, has declared that any Muslim senator-elect aspiring for Senate president is being very disrespectful to the leaders of the country and the party, disrespectful to president and the president-elect. According to him, he wondered why contests for the principal officers of the 10th Assembly should be reduced to cash and carriage, where, according to him, two senator-elect are already trying to pay money, offering to buy jeeps, so people, if they can vote them in. To make it worse, they're actually Muslims, that any Muslim who has been elected in the National Assembly should not even try to become Senate president, because that would be totally disrespectful to and heat up the politics. He said, besides, given that the two persons allegedly involved in this cash and carry approach on mobilizing support are Muslim, it would be gross insensitivity to the peace coexistence of the country and disrespectful to Nigerians to allow them to continue to aspire for the position of Senate president. Okay, the Nigerian Tribune, I think our last paper for today. Key players kick as more states move to build new airports. Tin Can Port risk collapse if nothing is done, says NPA. Suspected Yahoo boy crushes 4 to death, injures others in Ondo. 19 constitutional amendments bill rejected by Buhari have automatically become law, says Falana. And 359 bills passed through third reading in House of Reps in 45 months. Okay, which story are we starting with?
Can I start with the Tin Can Port complex? Okay. It says the managing director of NPA, Mohammed Belukoko, he was on TV, on a TV program, when he said that the port is it's on the brink of collapse if it's not rehabilitated soon. He says that also the Escavos in Calabar too that one is even worse, and they need $800 million to rehabilitate the dollars. Yeah, he said dollars.
Yeah.
But also, he said they have increased their revenue.
So they deserve, they can afford it.
They can actually afford it. He said they've gone from 250 billion to and 300 billion to 361 billion, revealing that the contribution to the federal government, CRF, has increased by 91 billion. So they are actually making money.
So they should be allowed to make more money by increasing their facility.
Yeah, so this is one of the problems of Nigeria. We do not stop the problem before
If
it's...
it escalates,
Escalates.
yes. It's teaching
We
times
wait.
9.
Yeah.
Until it's really, really
Usually
critical.
wait.
If we had been doing regular maintenance, we probably wouldn't be needing 800 and something.
Billion.
Billion
Do
to
you understand?
fix it.
That's not the Nigerian story. Don't
Yeah, it is.
even our own houses, how much of
That's not
maintenance
even,
we
that's
do?
not
The same
politician.
thing.
No.
You're
That's
right.
about politicians and that's about the civil service and the ministry processes.
Yes, it's about the system also. We don't even maintain every, it goes from little to big. We don't maintain anything.
Yeah, you have a small hole. It's just like our road in Alagbole. It started as a small hole.
And then it
And
starts
then
to
it's
stand.
now a
now-
crater.
In the average Nigerian with small plumbing issue, you just be managing the tap. The tap is not working.
Yeah.
You leave the tap like
Yeah,
that.
you leave it, you
And
abandon
just
it.
use another one.
Yes.
There's another sink.
Yes.
Before you know it, that sink too is spoiled. You now use upstairs
When
sink.
everything now goes bad, you know,
until
you
the whole
know,
house
crumbles.
That's the Nigerian factor. So it's
same.
easy for us to pinpoint the government or the.
I disagree with you.
Okay.
I disagree with you because I have house.
And you maintain your house. But there are just a few of us that do
Shrine
that.
that
Okay, have you rented out your apartment somewhere and they are living?
Don't go there.
It's crazy.
No,
That's us.
but that is...
The
you see,
majority.
when I say I don't like, it's not that I want to face government. I'm just saying it is leadership by example.
I hear you, Waike, but
That
you
is
must
all.
always
I'm telling you the truth. If you are a bad influence to your children, they will grow up bad.
Yes, I agree with you. I'm also
major
saying,
one, sir.
I'm also telling you, anyway, it's not our hot topic, too, but it's not always government. All of us too.
I'm just
All of us are
telling you
even
that
watching
if
TV like that.
you are a bad influence
Like
to
it.
your child,
People who are-
if your child sees you smoking cigar, coming out back late at night, when he grows up,
he will do the same thing.
So because
will do the
government
same.
did not change a light bulb in National Assembly, I shouldn't change my light bulb in my own house. I'll leave the dark alley dark because, hey, government did not change their own dark alley.
No, you didn't teach me.
I'm just telling you.
You didn't teach me.
We are part of the government, YK.
You didn't teach me what I
Okay.
do.
We have to go now.
We have to
We
go.
did not take an important story now.
Just telling you.
Sorry, Jare, it's